What's that?
X or whatever it's called now. I believe it's called X.
Yeah, it's called X now.
Yeah. So yeah, check them out. As many places as you can show up, get this information out, and I know that people will be, enhance their lives, and the knowledge will be. Oh, spell SikApe. Do whoever see it on the screen? I don't know if you're just listening, but for PayPal, if that's what you're asking, it's SIKAPE01. Yeah.
But Instagram is the SikApe with no numbers.
The THESIKHPE. I mean APE. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay.
On Facebook is just Rod Hayes.
Okay. Yeah, that one's easier. All right. So okay. Well, listen, we're gonna go, and I told you I'll be back on Friday with Grand Chic. And for those of you who come to my launch on Saturday, I'd love to have you there. Learn about some stuff that's going to help you feel and look better. So I'm being the poster child for it at 70. So.
Right offhand.
We were more discussing the organic original tribes over here, the old Mississippians, and the way that we moved across the land for the redemption process.
Oh, right. Okay. So that is about the Aboriginal people of America, correct? One moment.
Which is us. Which is us, the organic original people of this land. We was here before anybody else. And what a lot of people thinking that we only reached in 2,000 years or so of civilization. We've been doing this for eons. We are the old Atlanteans come back. We come back all the time. Cycles within cycles. You're living for eternity. What you gonna do for eternity?
Cycle.
Because eternity a long time, you have to figure out something to do. The gods play games. And this is the game where the gods play it out in the realm of the people.
Can you talk to me a little bit more about that? Because I've been on that frequency about realizing about the reality of death, what we've been misled. I was looking at the pyramids of Giza, and I started to realize those might be, I was thinking like resurrection chambers. The people, did they actually, when you say we live, we're eternal, are you being literal? Because that's what I think.
Literal.
Yeah, so talk
See,
to us.
all of these layers of strata with different pieces of the historical record. It's just like when you erase a hard drive on a computer, and then they can pull that data up because its remnants still present. Right? So you fill it up with new data, and then you erase it again. Now you got another set of imprinted data that's in the background. We see it as the giants sleeping when we were titans. Right? We see the crystals from the technology when we were Atlanteans. All of the religious doctrines is to keep you from waking up to your true self. It's not nothing to do with your connection with God. It got everything to do with manipulating you away from your connection with God, because God in you. The divine feminine Shakti energy manifests through woman first as the energy that we refer to when we call it God. Creative energy. It's not masculine, it's feminine. The first incarnation of a hominid is a feminine who procreated for thousands of years until they decided to make man. They done it through parthenogenesis. I replicate myself. But she got tired of looking at herself and all her sisters. She wanted to see what would the opposite polarity be. So let us make man kind of like us. Just knock his uterus out and hope he don't act like a broad.
So thank you so much for that, because when you bring up parthenogenesis, people scoff at that, but I've seen scientific research that they've done that with actual mammals, mice. So I'm glad you brought that up.
They have some women that's living right now that can parthogenically procreate. It's just that she don't do it because she was taught that she can't do it no more. So it ain't that she don't have the faculty, it's that she don't believe she have access to use the faculty. But it's a specific group of women. They have to have a specific mitochondrial connection, and they can reproduce mitochondrial energy. She can reproduce whatever is in her heart because it's a love frequency manifestation energy that we're dealing with. So when we tell you we coming for Big Mama stuff, because we Big Mama baby boys, we have to figure out, playing the game of the gods, how to find each other in the darkness of humanity's ignorance. And then one of us got to be able to know who everybody is, because we got to have a dog in every fight.
I want to go back to the statement you made about the mama energy, or the creation. Does sound create everything? Is everything on a sound frequency, and that's where we began?
Listen, sound is an effect. It's not a cause.
Okay.
Right? The effect comes from the activation of the Shakti energy.
Right.
And it manifests as a sound to the ones who hear, but it manifests visually to the ones that see.
Okay. What about feeling it?
You can feel it too. That's called kinesthetic. But most of us is taught that to read our emotions, instead of falling victim to them, we taught the opposite. To live it like the emotion is the only emotion you're going to ever have. So whatever you make a decision in that emotion, then you don't worry about the consequences because you felt that way. That's not how you get along with people.
Right. When you get an energy, like when you're around a person, you just either they rub you, you just feel like they're off, or you really just don't know why you're drawn to them, the magnetism. Yeah.
But in dealing with other people, the kind-heartedest people attracts the most trash.
Why is that? Talk to us.
It's the same reason why the insects fly the flame.
Okay.
If you got your own flame, you're not really worried about the next person's flame because you're too busy dealing with your own. But all of the let me lose my train of thought. What you thought? My
talking about a moth to the flame, and
so all of the ones that got their own inner light capability is gonna attract the ones that's awed by the light. That's why they create movie stars, so they can control which flame you fly to.
Okay, stars. Talk to us. Since you're on that, I just want you to. I'm riding the wave. Stars. Why are they called stars, Mr. Hayes?
That's just the name. A star means light. Okay. It's another word for sun. Those are tiny suns, right? So we stardust. The accumulated light body is stardust. We needed a physical avatar to roam the earth for Earth rover, so we made Earth suits called flesh suits.
Right, okay.
Right? We put them on and we walk around and pretend to be human while we solve human problems by living through the problem. This is the game of the gods. The gods come down and let the humans learn how to be humans until they mess it up so bad you need a god to correct it.
So let me ask you, going back to the Atlanteans, going back before the Atlanteans, if there is before, I'm thinking like the Sumerian stories. Were we in the ether and we were spiritual, not material, and then we entered into this particular realm, or how did that happen from your perspective, of course?
This is all predicated upon the geometric structure of the star life.
Okay.
It's the scientific string theory mixed with the Higgs boson God particle understanding to figure it all out. Density is an illusion. The reality of the 3 dimensions is false because you think things are not what they are. The thing that you think it is not that, because that's the illusion of being in the 3D. The spiritual self, once you give it permission, can override the BS and tell you the whole story. So they hypnotize you into the hypnosis of life through social structures and social engineering called sociology, the study of the movement of people, so that they can know where do they put the guideposts to keep you in the lanes. They don't want to do it microcosmically, individual by individual, but when they do that, they call it selling you off. Because you in the cell now. You just a battery charging their systems. Because your God energy is trapped in a concrete and steel structure. Right? So now the God energy that you emitting is being harnessed by somebody else.
Mr. Hayes, are these people who you're speaking about when we say they, I get it, are they gods? And what are, you know, when you hear about archons and when you hear Gnostic teachings, but are they, what kind of gods are they in the whole scheme of things?
They are secondary gods.
Okay.
All they are light energy that's coming to the realm of polarity as a school to learn to balance with perfect balance the 2 emotional extremes. You use the human reality as the training seminar. So you create the simulator to give them the experience. They live eternity, but they need a crash course where they can hurry up and understand balance. So you put them in the realms of opposites. In the realm of opposites, you're going to either learn how to balance or you're going to crash out.
Yes. So let me ask you, taking this into what I call like watchers, are some of these gods or these original people, are they around us and we just think they're like aliens, but they've been, I mean, where they've come, you know what I'm saying? I want to go into talking.
Okay, let's get into it. The gods in the concrete jungle.
I'm ready.
Okay, I did a video called Pauper Gods. The Pauper Gods, they the ones who see so clearly through the system, they refuse to participate, and you subject to find them sleeping under the subway in New York.
Okay.
If you have a conversation with them, you can tell they're not ignorant, but they no longer willing to participate in the system.
Right.
Right? Some of them, the Skid Row in California.
Right.
Pauper Gods. They become the watchers.
Okay.
But they're not participating. I'm not getting involved in your good versus evil conflict. Therefore, I'm going to sit back and watch. The ones who's trying to figure it out, right? They call those operative Masons, not speculative Masons. Speculative Masons, they not trying to work the problem out through living life. They trying to figure the problem out by reading text, following the rituals that people did before, never knowing that the most powerful rituals is the ones you write for yourself, because it got your magic and your energy in it.
Okay.
So they want to cut the feminine off from it because she has the strongest.
Wow. Why are they, is it because of fear, or are they just, what is it? Because I know the first worship one was the feminine divine. And why is it that way? Is it fear?
It's the subjugation of the sacerdotal seat. It's about military conquest of one of the jealous brothers. Jealous of his sister, so he want to take her stuff.
Oh, wow.
So you call him the bad angel. And the other brother say, you ain't taking nothing from my little sister. I'm going to bust you in your mouth. We call him the good angel. your good versus evil, your Masonic pillars of Joaquin and Boaz, severity and mercy. But can you see it played out in the realm of life? Only by educating yourself above the condition of the situation can you look down on it with an overstanding to see clearly all of the pieces are being moved about in the systematic order. Now you reverse engineer and you say, who the hell moved this piece? So you trying to get past the facade that's in the front because you want to see the man behind the curtain.
Like the Wizard of Oz?
Just like the Wizard of Oz. You no longer fall for the illusions that he's throwing up because you got Toto pulling at the curtain. And Toto is what you get when you add it all up. It's just the dog biting the ankle.
I was gonna say you just get the little dog. That's it.
That's the little guy.
Wow. So I'm going to let Sakina come in and ask if you want to ask a question on the line of what he's talking about, because even though we want to talk about UFOs, you go in deep. See, this is what I love about Rod Hayes. You just flow. We're flowing. So, Sakina, I'll let you jump in and ask a question if you'd like to, but I don't want to slow him down.
All right, thank you. I appreciate this, Rod. Let me say
You're welcome, sweetie. I'm here to get y'all stuff back first.
Okay, so where I'm going is two things. In Buddhist, or it's kind of in Buddhism and it's kind of in Hinduism, and maybe somewhere else. There was something that was in there that said that it's going in where you were, and it said that we were here, or somewhere to a line that, you know how we say that this person had a veil over their face, or this baby done been here
before. My sister was born with a veil on her face. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm into this saying that maybe it's only 144,000 people, period. Maybe, okay? 144 million people, period. And so where you're saying that the people come back in the resurrection, or whatever we want to call it, we don't want to say resurrection or what have you, but we come back in a lifetime in a cycle or a recycle, right? Mm-hmm. This is a deja vu, okay? Now, in this saying or whatever, we say that you have to complete a cycle in life, saying that you have your karma, you have your dharma, and these things that we have not done in a lifetime, in a lesson, right? So all of these things, like right now in this life cycle, we have done so much in this life cycle that we have to, if we did it in a ripple effect, so it was taught, like if you throw a rock in a pond, and once you throw that rock in a pond, that rock makes so much ripples in that water, right? That until that water comes back whole and solid, right? That your life is not complete. So you have to wait until all of those ripples come back into a flow. And so your life cycle is not complete. Even if your life ends, you have to still come back until those ripples complete and that water comes back to be still. So even if it's not in this form, in this body, you still come back. So we say, if you come back as a dog, or if you came back as a monkey, or if you came back, you have to be whatever you have to be in this life. You better make sure you be it really good. So if you live this life as a dirty rat, you better hope you don't come back as a dirty rat. There you go. So this is the thing. So I'm going with you and where you're going with this, right? And so I understand that.
That's called Dharma in Buddhism. And the Dharma talks about cycles.
Exactly.
These cycles in modern physics, we call them timelines.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Timelines on a pattern look more like a lightning bolt than a straight line. The
Okay.
timeline only ends where it ends at. Just like the electrical bolt have fingers that end in different places, but they all different timelines. Right? And the source of the bolt is the initiation of the timeline. Science today call it the Big Bang.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I always ask them who turned on the switch.
There you go. I asked what banged. Right. Okay.
So
Yeah.
if we go by the Egyptian doctrine where they teach us about the primordial moon, the infinite waters of the mother's womb, it's called the primordial moon, where you get your modern nuns from. The nuns were the original priestesses of the mother of the noon, which they called Aset.
Right.
Right? Because at noon, she sat down in her throne.
Okay.
Right? So they become the mirror reflection of the light because they used to wear white. But when they inverted the gender of the priesthood and usurped the women, they gave the high priestess white to the Pope.
Okay, come on. Now it's getting hot in here.
The Pope is your quintessential representative of your Jacobite, your underminer, your supplanter, who sits under the throne of the Great Mother. And they tell you a lie and tell you it's the throne of St. Peter. But the throne of St. Peter is in a whole different part of Europe. And there's nowhere that size.
Wow. Talking about St. Peter and the Pope, talk to us about this Pope passing away. Just throwing this in, I'm not trying to stop your flow, but the Pope passing away right after the Easter celebration.
So the first thing we have to do is see through the BS. The Pope been gone.
I knew you were going to say that. Where's my bomb drop? Like, I'm always bad. I thought that.
Yeah, bless up, sir.
Bless up.
All right. Yeah, man, bless up. Brother Hayes, you don't know, big up yourself. Sakina, now, bless up yourself. I Rastafari, so that's right. But I heard you said something to an extent of we coming down here. So I would like you to expound, because you know the Dogans talk about us coming from the stars. But I would like to make the connection also that we didn't come from the stars, or we came from the stars, and how did we come through our mom's portal from the dad's seed? And you're saying like we come from somewhere to down here. So like, you know, elaborate and kind of make the connection for me, please.
The father's seed is secondary in creation. The Y chromosome is an X with an atrophied appendix, and it has about 30% less genetic information than an X chromosome. Right? The reason why is that the mutation was activated in a prior time by the will of the feminine to change the makeup and structure to produce the masculine. Right? Credo Mutua give it to us in the separating of genders through the red light and the blue light. So, but this is metaphoric for the training of the royal family. The red house trains the mother's children and the blue house trains the father's children. This became your Scottish Rite and York Rite Masons. Right? Now, the hierarchy of what they call principalities, which is frequency waves of the earth, the people first have to call on their personal family leader, who then calls on the community leader. The community leader then calls upon the multiple community leader. So the grievances vex go through a chain of command on the father line as the ruler line, the governors of the mother's realm, guardians of the sacred yoni, protector of women. So in the process of the training, he has to understand what he's protecting in order for him to be an effective protector. So the reduced genetic matter caused the man to take on a different form as the woman in order to be her protector. But all zygotes, meaning the children, before the mother sends them the permission to convert gender, are female. They become, once her chemistry determines she's going to let the Y chromosome activate, she changes the gender to male in utero. The male then forms into the masculine protector of the feminine. Then once this happens, she produces a male child. But the source still has to trace back to the powerhouse of the cell called mitochondria. Now, because of the missing genetic matter, the men cannot pass mitochondria, but it's required to power the cell of the masculine. The process by which the mother selects the son's wife is by frequency of mitochondria. She don't never have to personally meet her, but the mitochondrial frequencies have to match the unconditional love frequency. And this frequency is what's the sacred marriage or the holy marriage, the uniting of Tahuti and Isis, or the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine being joined as one in order to be a pair of gods as co-creators of the reality. And it's known as the holy drama, as it's played out in the story of Osiris and Isis. And the Dogons also teach the holy drama, but they don't teach it exoterically, they teach it esoterically. The exoteric is the arrival of the Syrians in order to give from Sirius B in order to deliver.
Come on, feed.
The Pope been gone. Look, they've been using an android in public, masquerading as this Pope. He been dead for some years.
Wow.
And you got to remember, before him was what? Pope Francis?
Yeah,
right?
He was Pope Francis. Before him was the Pope, the German one.
Was it Benedict?
The one, Benedict, yeah.
Right.
He was,
now,
he was the Nazi one, remember?
Yeah. That's why he allegedly stepped down. It's a lifelong position. You cannot step down.
And I should say allegedly, YouTube. Don't mess with us. Go ahead. Sorry, Mr. Hayes.
You can't step down from the position of Pope. You can only leave it by death.
Come on.
So they gave us Francis, because Francis is a talking mule.
Well, come on.
Right? For those who don't know who Francis the Talking Mule was, it's a sitcom from the 50s.
Oh, wow.
The mule is the symbol of the Democratic Party.
Right?
But we in a republic.
Make it make sense.
Now, when the symbol was the elephant and the donkey, is when it was the Democratic Republic Party, a political faction led by a talking ass.
Oh.
They tell us a story and they put it in the art and entertainment because it's like playing concentration. Flip this card. Okay, what's the other card?
Right. And don't forget Shrek. The talking donkey, right? They show us right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Now, there was also a horse. See, Francis was the talking mule and Mr. Ed was the horse.
Right.
Right. Wow. And Ed was the one that used to do the clearance house sweepstakes that they say he never did it. Mandela effect.
Wow.
Right.
All of us remember him on Johnny Carson giving out Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes and showing the clips of him going up the people's door with the balloons and the giant check. But they told us none of that ever happened.
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing, you mean when they went up to people's homes and gave them the check? They said that didn't happen?
That's a Mandela effect.
Oh, what?
And then he went to Star Search, right?
The Mandela effect is a sudden shift in the timeline due to a major catastrophe.
Mm-hmm.
So the timelines being jumped mean that a major catastrophe triggered the jump in the timeline.
You think that the Hadron Collider at CERN is something to do with the time being warped or changed?
Look, they used it to create what we see as the 3 dimension in the way that we have to have sleep.
Okay.
If you look at the spirals going up through dimensions, the last time one was open was during the Anunnaki Wars, and they blew it to collapse the 4th dimension into the 3rd, so we would require sleep.
Oh, okay.
But we would be stuck in what's called a permanent infinity loop, because nobody will ever figure out at the right time what we call the Maherta. When the center of the universe is in direct alignment to the earth, to alert enough people to make the jump out of the infinity loop into the ascension loop. But they was wrong about one. So now that we done flipped through the infinity loop, we in the trajectory of the ascension loop. And the things that we seeing as Mandela effects, right, is the resonance and the residue of a shifted system. With the system, if the system shift, we have to have a way to know that it shift that's readable to the highest intelligences of the planet. So they give you a Mandela effect. That's telling you there's a major shift because it's all mathematics. And it's playing out as 3-dimensional human life. Powerful people in powerful places making powerful moves all in our face, when they don't know that the power is in the people, when the focus and concentration on the people are the problem, that the ones that appears to be in power is focusing their attention on in order for the people to determine the solution. And when they get fed up with it, they say, we're not playing no more. Game is over. They tricking us into continuously playing into their storylines with what we call mainstream media, but it's losing its grip. That means that they